After 6 years on the market, the Jeep Compass has been updated for 2023. And I have to say, I think I like its new direction. Sorry, I did not have to say that. The Compass has received what's known as a mid-cycle refresh with mildly updated styling and a revamped interior, plus new technology and features. All Compasses come standard with all-wheel drive, which Jeep calls 4x4, much to the chagrin of pedants. And a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine rated at 200 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque, which is a lot for the Compasses class, which falls between subcompact and compact SUVs. I call it sub/compact, others call it mid-compact, but as they say here in New Jersey, it's the same difference. The base price is $29,995 for an entry-level Compass, but this higher level limited starts over $36,000, and this particular one, loaded to the max, is over $45,000. That's definitely high for a size class that includes much lower price models like the Kia Seltos and the Chevy Trailblazer. Although the Ford Bronco Sport does align pretty closely with this, and that probably is its closest competitor. While the Limited is very much a street-focused model, it is still a Jeep and has a pretty healthy 8.1 inches ground clearance, which I guess doesn't count this aerodynamic front air dam that hangs down a little lower than that. It also has a 27.2 cubic foot cargo compartment, which is very large for its segment. And the rear seat space does well on my 6'1" scooch test, where I see if I can fit behind myself with the front seat set for me without having to scooch it forward. I'm also a big fan of what you can do with the cargo space, which has a low floor, but you can raise it up to there. So now when you lower the seat, it lines up to make a flatter floor. The new interior is a big step upscale from the one it replaces. You get a digital instrument cluster, 10.1 inch digital infotainment system, and one of my favorite things, lots of knobs and buttons to go with it. Nevertheless, you still have to use the screen for a few very important things, like turning on the steering wheel heater, which seems kind of silly, and the 360-degree camera system you can get on the Limited. Thankfully, you can configure the home screen to include some of those icons for easy access. Another thing that reminds you this is a Jeep is the fact that it has de-icers for all 3 of its windshield wipers, which turn on when you turn on the defoggers. The Limited's traction management system also has a snow setting, as well as one for sand and mud. Jeep is also really big on the Easter eggs, and this has a bunch. There's a Willys Jeep on the windshield, an iguana under the hood, Jeep's trademark logo on the side view mirror, and as seen all the time through the rear view mirror, this snake on the rear window, which is a little creepy. This has an 8-speed automatic transmission, and the all-wheel drive system is kind of like a 4x4 because it disconnects the rear axle when it doesn't need it, although you can lock it in 4-wheel drive. That's all meant to improve fuel economy, but it can only do so much. This has a pretty middling 27 mile per gallon combined rating. The Limited isn't really meant for off-roading. You want to get the Trailhawk trim for that. In this, the all-wheel drive system will mostly come in handy in the snow, but I have to say, it is just eating up this horrible road I'm driving on right now. Smoother than a luxury car driving through the city, which probably doesn't have better roads than this, which is why everybody drives SUVs these days. The engine also has a very nice punch to it and is well suited for a vehicle this size. This highly optioned Limited is also filled with an arsenal of electronic driver aids, including a lane centering adaptive cruise control with a highway assist that really holds it in the center of the lane and controls its speed better than many similar systems. It is hands-on, however, and will start nagging you immediately if you take your hands off the wheel. This also has another way it could steer itself between lines. It's a self-parking system that works in both parallel and perpendicular spots, as long as there are 2 other cars for it to fit between. So what happens is, first it spots the spot, then it tells you to take your hands off the wheel and shift it into reverse. Then you just control the throttle as it controls the wheel. And boy, oh boy, hope for your insurance that it works. And right now we're looking pretty good, although it's not precisely between the lines. Actually, it did a pretty good job. Now it wants to move forward a little bit though, just to neaten it up, and it's doing that in a rather sketchy but impressive fashion. Still wants me to go a little further forward while it straightens things out, and now I'm going to back in one more time, and let's see what it does. Boy, oh boy, it makes a lot of noise, but it sure did do it. There are a number of cars that have features similar to this. I don't know how many people actually use them, but they are pretty cool. A couple of things that really stand out for me in this are the steering wheel, which I know sounds silly, but it's nice and thick and chunky and has a great leather wrap, and the shifter, which is in the perfect position. I kind of wish it was a manual. As much as I like this though, it still seems a little pricey, but that might just have something to do with the name. Instead of a Jeep, if this were an Audi or BMW, I gotta tell you, I think it holds its own. Which makes some sense because this is very much a global car for Jeep. They sell it all over the world. Why in the United States, bigger is better. In some countries, smaller is better. So they're happy to pay more for something that's nicer but not too big. So in a lot of ways, its value comes down to the perspective you're looking at it from. You might even say the direction you're looking at it from. But you don't have to say that.